Hello, everybody. How you doing? Yeah, I woke you up. All right, you ready to make science fun? Oh, wow. Need to caffeinate you guys. Okay, so we're going to talk about hacking vehicles. It's been in the news all over the place lately. There was one manufacturer that I thought had it under control, but I was mistaken, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. First, a few disclaimers. So I'm protected, and so is GrrCon. This is my opinion only. This is not representative of my employer. I'm sure you've seen that before. I've prepared this, the author's own, etc. No, I know you've seen this before. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only. I'm not telling you how to hack a car. If you happen to, that's all on you. And have fun going to the dealership and explaining that. There can be unintended effects, such as ruining your engine or transmission. I and the con will not be responsible for your transgressions. Let's see. Okay, these are presented as is, where is, informational purposes only. Don't depend on these if you own a massive corporation, and then try to have counsel contact me. That won't work very well for you. Contact your counsel regarding the laws and regulations. I think this one's it. This is what we're going to talk about is no guarantee of future effects. Blah blah. Yeah, nothing too exciting, but that's there. All right, so that's me. You can tell I've been in school way too long. Those are my email addresses. I've got the corner on Charles Parker II throughout the internet. It's my Twitter handle. If you want to contact me later, please feel free. There's a reason why I've been in school more than some people have been alive, is that I want to learn everything I can. I want to give back. I want to make the enterprise vehicles, everything more secure as much as I can, as much as anybody will listen. I have a more in-depth version of this. I have papers that have been published on blogs. If you want to read them, they've been separated per attack. I can give you those links. I have a full set of references and resources if you want to read the source data. Here's some acronyms that we'll talk about a little bit today. ACM, that controls the airbag for your vehicle. CA, Certificate of Authority. CAN, Controller Area Network. That's part of the network that controls the vehicle and the endpoints. HU is head unit. That's in your car. That's the display. That offers a lot of interactivity. TPMS. There was an attack with that with GM vehicles. Tire pressure monitoring system. AES standard. And I have way too many slides, so if I go through too quickly and you want a copy of this later, email me. At the end, there'll be my contact information also. And I've got to apologize to the movie studio. I got the idea from the movie, for those that remember that. All right, I'd like to start out with a couple quick jokes. Why do Pascal programmers live in Atlantis? Because it's below sea level. All right, 3 people got that one. Why do programmers get Christmas and Halloween mixed up? It's bad, isn't it? But that's okay. It's the end of the day. You can go to work tomorrow and say, I've got this corny joke, and then everybody else will remember it all weekend. So in the beginning, I was thinking, well, what can I talk about that's interesting, that's going to gather everybody's attention? You can't have something too dry, otherwise you get the deer in the headlights and people fall asleep. So I was working in the vehicle industry, and I thought, well, this is a very broad topic. Let me try to narrow it down. I was working as a application security engineer, so I'm like, well, we'll narrow it down further just to the car instead of everything else that's integrated with it. And these times, they certainly are a-changin'. 3 people again. I'm too old. Technology has improved vehicles drastically. They started out as the muscle cars with the big engines, and everything was mechanical. That's changed drastically with the computers being implemented in these, and also Moore's law. Now, cars are not really cars anymore. They're more so a computer on wheels. And there are a number of vulnerable points through the vehicle and attack vectors that you can use. Let's see. The lighting system, vehicle bus communications, the TCU, the TPMS. Remember, we went over that tire pressure monitoring system. That's a good one. Another good one that we'll talk about for 2 or 3 different hacks is the OBD2. And that's a port that's when you're sitting in your car, it's by your knees, and you can plug some hardware into it. And I've got an example of one with me, but I'll show you that. The airbag is a point of attack. The ECU, electronic control unit, that handles the transmission is also. Those are all that are mostly in the vehicle. Now, if for more of a wireless attack, you have your smartphone, so that's the vehicle connecting to the app on your phone, like in the middle of winter when it's 10 below and you do not want to go out to a cold car, and you just bring up the app to start the car, or if it's an electric, start the heat in it. It's also your PC that you can have in the car if you plug into that, or go through the vehicle to access the internet. That's also another point where you can have an attack. Okay, if you're going to attack a vehicle, one of the physical points of attack is the OBD2 port, like I described. You can go to that website, and it's one of the areas where you can look for more information. And this is a fixed. You can buy this for $60. I got this one from ThinkGeek, but you can buy, this. You can go to a tool store and also get another tool that'll plug in, that you can start to read the different communications that and then messages that are going through the vehicle. Sold at tool stores. I didn't want to buy one of those and bring it in, though. So you also have the head unit and the sensors with that. That allows you to connect to the outside world. You can, through the apps, you can buy something through your vehicle if you want. You have GPS, and other connectivity with that. The issues are the systems are unfortunately poorly protected. And this isn't just one manufacturer or two, it's most of them. And it keeps coming up repeatedly over and over and over. It gives me plenty of research material to write my articles, so it keeps me out of trouble. So that's a good thing. The poor protection has caused vehicle hacking not to be on the fringe anymore, but it's right there in the mainstream. It's widely publicized. We've all seen the GPAC. Also, the author of the Greenberg, with the YouTube video he has where he's in the car trying to drive it and it's being taken over, and other ones. The rationale for this is it's a difficult fix with the mentality we have out there now. They are proposing newer protocols for the vehicles to reduce the issues that are out there. Right now, the big hot button are the autonomous vehicles. They're proposing now a protocol for those. But there's so many service providers working on that, it's going to be tough to set it to narrow it down to a handful that'll be implemented. Another thing we're not doing is looking at the code itself, doing a good code analysis for the apps that are in the vehicle. Things are falling through the cracks. We're not looking at the packets that are coming in and out through the vehicle. Not enough time. That's a commonality with many industries, but with the auto industry, there are certain gates that you have to get through with having certain specs done within that time frame. If you don't have what you need done in a timely manner, in theory, you can push out the timing for that vehicle and production for the vehicle, and that boils down to money. Okay, and we'll talk about this briefly at the end. I have a certain thought about this, but just take that in for a second. Look at those. And I'll discuss my interpretation of that later. All right, so vehicles are vulnerable. I don't mean to be Captain Obvious, but it's out there every day. It is such a problem that the FBI published their PSA their PSAI 0317, stating vehicles are vulnerable. Owners of the vehicles, be careful with what you're doing. Don't fool around with the code. Like I mentioned before, there's an increase of use of the computers in the vehicles. It monitors everything the vehicle does. It can record, what's going on with the vehicles as you're driving, where you're at. The FTC has also been getting involved with this. They have been suing other entities that have not protected the user's information. Lately, there's been the Wynn Hotels lawsuit. There was a lab in Maryland that they sued and put out of business for allegedly not protecting users' information. And in theory, the FTC can shift their focus to the auto industry at this point because there are so many breaches. This affects so many people, and there's people's data involved with their vehicle. Okay, the issue, we've been driving these vehicles around for years that are connected, yet we are still having the same problems over and over and over. We're still having the security issues with these. So why is this occurring repeatedly, and why am I writing so many articles about it? The issue to fix these, it's expensive. It's not cheap to have the engineers there to, if they find something, to fix it. It's not a novel fix at times. It takes time to do it and implement what you need to. The general opinion is security is important, and you need to have it with the vehicles. You don't want to put something out there on the road that's vulnerable, yet we're still doing it. Although that's the opinion, and senior management may say that, when it comes down to the engineer level, they're treating it as an inconvenience. I was told when I was working on a project that I was trampling on this other engineer's progress because I wanted to have security fully integrated into the vehicle and what he was working on. We have to change the mindset, otherwise we're going to continue to have more recalls, more vehicles being taken over, especially with the autonomous vehicles. Think about the fleet of the vehicles going down I-75 at rush hour. If you're able to gain control, what you can do with that. So it has to change at some point. With the attacks, one app that's been used is the Caring Caribou. With this, you can read the reports and manipulate those. You can also read data from the CDR, Crash Data Retrieval app. You can do that with accessing the OBD2 port. You can modify the ECU. Now the physical attack points, I know we had the graphic with the vehicle with some of the attack points. You can attack using a CD, DVD player, USB, the auxiliary jacks in there, also the touch screen in the head unit. These are some of the attacks that are already known in the environment that have been patched and reported on through the different agencies. This is not all inclusive. Over time, there will be more using the same ports. Wireless, Bluetooth, that's not that common anymore, but it's still a possibility. Cellular, the digital radio, the GPS, the Wi-Fi in the vehicle. And also when there's an update to the vehicle, and that's sent OTA over the air, and also if the user is going to do any purchases with the vehicle. Those are all different points to check on the vehicle. And then the networks, you can attack the bus, the Ethernet, and the OBD, like we talked about. Another point is, these are individual attacks, but when you look at them, they can overlap, and that overlap also provides another point to test. One of the general attacks is with the key fob. We all have them. They are vulnerable. In general, they use 315 megahertz signal in North America. Generally, the code isn't sent clear text, but they can use a rolling code or other code with that. What you can do is monitor the communications between the fob and the vehicle, sniff it, and use that later on for the attack against the vehicle. And this has been recently done. We'll address that later. Indirect, you can have an indirect attack with the OBD2 port, disk media player, the USB. And with this, what you'd want to look for are side-loaded attacks. So if you're getting ready for in the morning, and your child comes up and says, I need a USB to take to school for a project, and you just happen to have one, and you hand it off, and she takes it to school, plugs it into their network. That may pick up malware. When it comes back at the end of the day, let's say you're driving to work the next day and you have something loaded on there that you want to listen to. You have music on there, whatever. By plugging it in, if that malware is coded for the vehicle, you're now infected. Let's say there's ransomware on that your child picked up from the school system. To gain control of your vehicle again, think about what you would pay, or would you even pay? And also what functions would it cripple within the vehicle that you would know now or when you're driving it in 10 minutes? Let's see. Short range, Bluetooth again, it's not likely, but there has been an attack with that. The key fob. Earlier attacks, you had to be short range. We'll go over how to extend that from 20 feet up to 300 feet. The tire pressure monitoring system again. That's an older attack. Long range, the GPS or the cellular. Now with the vehicles, they all have their system that integrates with the person. Ford has Sync, GM has OnStar, Toyota Safety Connect, Lexus Inform, Mercedes Embrace, BMW Assist. With these, you can implement packet sniffing and do a target probing with that. You can fuzz these and do some stationary testing with them. Here's a recent piece of hardware that I've been looking into. Now, Verizon has the Hum. It's a dongle that you plug into the vehicle, and it can report where the vehicle's at, a number of things. If you've been in an accident, and if you don't respond quickly, it'll call the authorities. In the terms and conditions, it lets you know that they can share the information, They can combine that data from your vehicle with some of their other data that they have on you. You're also signing off when you get it that you'll not that you'll let them know of any breaches. You won't try to reverse engineer it or do anything with it. So the question is, if you work on the hardware, the Verizon Hum, are you violating the contract? What can they do? What data are they collecting? How are they communicating the data back to their servers? Who are they sharing it with exactly? How is the password stored? And then IDK is, I don't know. And what I did was I went to their media sources, asked for help, I got no help. I called their customer service line after a few weeks, and I was told by their customer service rep, I don't know. And then he said, I don't believe it transmits in clear text. I'm not one for hoping that everything's going to be okay. I also stopped into a store to ask the people there if they could give me some direction, and they just handed me a piece of paper with the functionality. I'm like, well, no, well, thank you, but this is really what I'm looking for. And I was told, all I know is that if you get in an accident, it contacts the police. I'm like, thank you for your support. The key fob attack, this is one that's come out recently. German Automobile Club, ADAC, so that's their version of our AAA, restore report on how to attack the vehicle with the key fob. This has been known since 2011, but only been recently published. It affects a number of different vehicles. For you old enough, that's the Hamburglar. So you have the criminal by the vehicle, and then another guy by the user getting ready to unlock his vehicle. And it boils down to it's a man in the middle of the attack. You just sniff the traffic between the two. The defenses that they gave were to shield the key, either put it in like a Faraday bag, or take the battery out of it until you're ready to get to the car to unlock it, which neither one's very usable. Another attack is with the GM. It's Sam Kamkar created this. He named it OwnStar, and he hacked this 2013 Chevrolet Volt. This one attacked the communication from the vehicle to the app on the phone, and once that was successful, whoever completes the attack was unable to lock the vehicle, and whatever apps were set for the vehicle, those could be abused. That was patched. The Jeep attack, we've all seen the videos, read the articles. 1.4 million vehicles were affected. This was patched with a USB that was sent out to people, or they could take it into a dealership to get fixed. And it was not a difficult attack. Now they did. Those are the two, Miller and Valasek. They call this the Beer and Pickles attack. Due to their last name. And it wasn't difficult because you just needed the vehicle's IP. There was a lack of authentication. You could do virtually anything to the vehicle while it's operating, which one of the videos shows Greenberg driving along in the expressway, and Miller and Velicek didn't know where he was. So he's driving along, and they're messing with the speed and the radio and the wipers while a semi was behind him. So that was, you could see the guy was scared driving the car because he was out of control of it while he's on the expressway. This was patched. For future patches, they're using OTA also over the air. So when you turn the vehicle on, the patch can be sent to the vehicle if there's any issues going forward. They had the two of them had another presentation at GrrCon this year. It was a like attack, but this attack took 2 years to formulate. So it did take some research time, and they had to buy the vehicle. Corvette brakes. Remember the OBD2 port? This was the attack that use that. So they just plugged in the Metromile, which was a hardware designed by mobile devices. You just needed to know the IP address and the phone number for the vehicle. Not that hard to get, unfortunately. And once it was compromised, you could attack the brakes, windshield wipers, door locks, transmission, steering. Nissan Leaf. This is a very, to me, irritating attack because the engineers had no focus on security. All you needed was the VIN. You can get the VIN. You can get the format from the VIN online, and it's not that hard to guess. Everything but the 4 or 5 digits on it, you can guess and dial it in pretty close. Also, you can just walk up to the vehicle. There's a Leaf. The target was in the UK. The attacker was in Australia. They knew each other, so it wasn't an arm's length attack versus a stranger. So he connected to the vehicle. Once you have the compromised vehicle, you can change the AC, the heating system. You can drain the battery. You can leave the person stranded. And with that, if you wanted to target someone, you could make their life very interesting very quickly. Tesla, I included this just as part of my due diligence. It took them 2 years to find this vulnerability, and for this to work, you have to peel back the dash and plug a patch cord into the vehicle. And with this, you can shut down the vehicle, force it to stop, open the doors, change the display. It's a very mechanical attack, and unless you have access to it for a few hours, you wouldn't do it. That being said, there was another vulnerability that was just patched by Tesla. Again, with the vehicle communicating out to an app. So I thought they had it under control, but it appears that this is another manufacturer that's not quite there yet. Mitsubishi 2017 Outlander attack. This vehicle isn't sold in North America yet, but the engineers here decided to recreate the wheel. Instead of using the hardware that everybody else was using, they wanted to put their own wireless access point in. The format for the pre-shared key was written on a piece of paper inside of the owner's manual. So they were able to get that and back and reverse engineer into the key. They sniffed the traffic, cracked it. And also the IP for the vehicle was not hidden well at all. Oh, and once the vehicle is, once the attack is successful, you can unlock the car, steal what's in the car, steal the car, turn off the alarm, the AC. Again, you can drain the battery on the vehicle and strand somebody. And this was a well-known attack. It was going through the message boards, and they decided to ignore it until the researchers contacted the BBC, and then it became important. Proof of concept. So we've gone through a number of the attacks rather quickly, but these have been mostly academic. This is what can happen. This is what you can do. Well, some enterprising deviants took this information and applied it in Texas, and this is a story that came out recently. What they did was they liberated the key fob codes from Chrysler. It's not known yet how they got the database with these, if they got them from the dealership or wherever. The codes aren't generic. They're specific per each vehicle. Once they had that, they were able to reprogram the fob and start to finish for them walking up to the vehicle, taking some of the dirt off the windshield, noting the VIN, putting it in, and then programming the fob. Took all of 6 minutes. They were able to steal the vehicles and sell them abroad. The equipment needed to do this is not complex. It's nothing too exciting, unfortunately. FCA put out a tersely worded statement that thou shalt not do this, or we will vigorously attack or will vigorously sue you and take you into court. Autonomous vehicles, this is a wide open subject. It's so new, and there are under a dozen companies working on this. Mostly in Michigan and Arbor. Obviously the big three. But security is not being baked in and integrated from the ground up. The engineers are mostly working on, getting the vehicles moving. They're not integrating security into the process. So at the end, hopefully, it won't just be bolted on at the end and hoping for the best. Okay, and here's some tools. There are so many tools out there that you can use to check the vehicles and test them. Here are a few. I can send this out to you. I'm running out of time, so I don't want to go through each one. Karen Caribou again. Let's see, Can Tools, Canberry. A lot of these are open source too. Defenses you can use. Implement security with these. Try to secure the big thing is securing the communications with the vehicle, from the vehicle to the app and other sources outside. Also remove the functionality of the dongle. Add antivirus, add firewalls. These are computers with wheels. So, I'm out of time. Thank you. If you need, let's see. That's me again. Oh wait, okay, remember the writing utensils, right? The pen and the highlighter. I look at these as not two things to write with, but as two different tools, like you have with security. There are some apps that you use when you're testing one thing, other apps you use when you're testing something else. And that's the short Zen version. But there's me again. I have cards too, if you want to use a digital format. Like I said, I'm here to help. So just let me know if you have any other questions, or if you have any use cases you're curious about, just let me know. Thank you.